What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about some tips and tricks for battle mode for Doom Eternal. I'm going to be specifically talking about demons here, and this is kind of a test. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys are liking, make sure you guys subscribe, and have that bell icon turned on. And if this video does get enough support, I can absolutely do another video talking about the Slayer as well. Now, I'm not going to go out here and pretend to you guys like I'm some master at Doom. Starting out, I was extremely bad, especially as the Slayer. I honestly feel like I can tell you I've gotten a whole lot better, especially as the demons. I think I've got a grasp at least of what to do, and again, and even without talking about my specific playstyle or how good I am, I feel like I can go over some tips, some tricks that I've seen in my battles based off of what I've done, based off of what my teammate done, and anything that I have seen as well to help you guys do really well as the demons. So again, I feel like demons are the easier one. That could totally be just a misconception. You guys could let me know, but here's some of the things that I've learned. Firstly, you want to be careful, and that could seem pretty hypocritical from a demon, right? Because you're so powerful, you're so tall, you're so big, you have all these powers. Rushing in on the Slayer can probably be a pretty bad idea. I guess depending on the Slayer, this all is depending on which version, how good of a Slayer you're versing. But you normally do not want to both go in on the Slayer. Now, it does depend on the demons, and I'm trying to keep this in terms of what I want to talk about across the board. So I normally play as the Revenant. That's my main one. I've seen people be good as really all of the other demons as well. But again, I want to kind of have this be for any demon. There are demons that definitely have their own things. Some of them are better at just rushing up and taking the blunt of damage and dealing the most damage. Some are better from being far away, kind of like a supporting thing. But you do want to communicate with your other demon. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to put on your headset and talk to them, but you have to know when it's a good time to attack, when it's a good time to retreat. You all have armor, you all have health. You can build yourself back up. You can continue to spawn smaller minions, right? And you're going to want to do that. That's very important. I think as time goes on, there's going to be less people that don't know what they're doing, but I can tell you earlier on, especially as the Slayer, I saw so many demons that weren't even spawning minions. Now again, very early on, first week or so, I imagine this game is going to be filled with people that just don't know what they're doing, and that's totally cool. Again, I was one of those people. But I think as you're going to go on, it is going to get harder for the Slayer because demons will start to figure things out. Spawning minions, good idea. Spawning them strategically, not always necessarily directly in front of you, although sometimes maybe that's a good idea. If the demon or if the Slayer is attacking you unrelentingly and you have a problem, maybe you want to put the minions right in front of you so they'll have to go through them first to get to you. Or maybe in the beginning of the match, you want to place them further away towards the Slayer. Blocking loot. Again, I've seen this oftentimes. I also think that just because when you're in the midst of the action, you sometimes forget that you can literally, both of you as demons, can literally block the Slayer's loot, which is insanely important because if you do it right, if you're spawning minions, if you're maybe even taking turns attacking, or again, you're just kind of strategically placing out okay, well, one of these two demons are better close up, so they'll go close up and I'll provide support, or I am the one closer up, and we're gonna do as much damage as we can. But maybe we need to retreat, but then we can have our minions going. You do all that right, you block their loot, then they can't really heal. They can't really get their time to kind of cool down because you can run away, you can have your minions, and I honestly suggest doing that. I've found numerous times where that is a good idea, where if somebody is being unrelenting, and your other demon friend is being unrelenting, it may be okay, depending on the situation, it may be okay to kind of step back and assess what you're doing. Again, depending on which demon you are, but it may be a good idea. Other times, maybe you see that slot where it's okay, well, if we both attack at the same time, maybe we corner him, we can get him. And again, that is very important. You need to kind of just feel out the map, feel out the environment, feel out, again, is it a good time for both of us to rush in? If we're both very low on health and the Slayer has a good amount of health, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we have to back off and hide. And that is another thing, is it being okay with running away. I've made the mistake. I'm not perfect. And again, like I've said, I'm not very good at this. I'm just trying to take all of the knowledge I've kind of learned, even if I can't execute it. One of the things I've seen, and again, even I've done it, is if you're in the midst of things, sometimes you can forget. Again, you can forget to block loot. You can forget to spawn your minions. You can forget your different perks and stuff like that, which, by the way, you do want to use everything at your disposal. But another thing you forget about is running away if you need to. If they destroy the other demon, then it's just you. And if they take you out within 20 seconds, you're done. So you need need to know when it's okay to run away. If the Slayer has an okay amount of health, you just lost your ally, you don't have that much health, it is not a good idea to go one-on-one, because most likely the Slayer will still have more powerful weapons, so maybe have the rocket launcher saved, because that is kind of a trick for them. Save their most powerful weapons for the second one so you can get rid of them easily and quickly. So you may have to run. In fact, it's probably a good idea that you run away. And again, sometimes when you're in the midst of battle and stuff, it's hard to remember that kind of stuff, or sometimes maybe you get all carried in or caught up in what you're doing, and that can be a problem. But the biggest thing to do as a demon, I think, I feel like from the matches I've played, is to keep the match alive as long as you can. Again, I mean, if you see a spot that you're able to destroy the Slayer, you do it, right? You take that opportunity. But the more minions you have spawned, the more abilities that you're using as as the rounds progress. Maybe you, depending on what abilities you use, it's completely up to you. But sometimes you can spawn in more like advanced or like higher damage enemies. Sometimes you can have your minions do more damage. That's a perk as well. So as these matches go on, your minions can start to be more powerful, you can start to do more damage, and then the longer the match stretches out, if you do it right, again, the Slayer has less and less basically to work off of. Sure, he can maybe get health from some of the demons as well, but if you're on him as well, you're trying to, you're like poking him in the side, maybe he'll be too busy to do anything. So basically, it's keeping the Slayer as busy as possible while keeping yourself out of danger as much as possible. Sometimes it's impossible to do that. Sometimes you do have to just go in there. And also, if you hit the Slayer, you're going to do the most damage. And I know that's obvious, but as you probably have seen from my gameplay, as you've seen from a lot of people's gameplay, firstly, it's very hard to hit the Slayer. And depending on which demon you have, you could probably do like environmental damage, where if you like shoot something very close to him, you could do damage. Some of them, though, you have to literally hit him directly in order to do any damage. But let me tell you, if you do hit him directly, you do a ton of damage. So that is important. That is more of a skill. That is something that I cannot get down. That's why I kind of play the Revenant, because you can shoot so many different things, and you can just kind of keep attacking, and he does kind of do damage even if he just barely misses him. Hitting him precisely on him does a ton of damage. So if you're really good at aiming, you're probably going to have a lot of success. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Is there any, besides what I was saying, is there any tips and tricks you guys have for others? If they click this video, they go to the comments, let them know. Let other people know when they're coming to this video what other tips and tricks you have for them being demons. Again, if this video does well, or if there's support out there, I can totally do another video talking about the Slayer. I'm much better as the demon, even if maybe this video seemed kind of all over the place. I feel like I do know what I'm talking about more for the demon than the Slayer. The Slayer, I think, has a much higher learning curve to him that makes him very, very difficult, but rewarding. I mean, a ton of fun to play both of these different sides, but I think the demon is just generally easier to play as. But let me know, let everybody else know in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.